Now, ladies and gentlemen, we'll start our plenary session, Biotech Journey from Research to Commercial. Well, the first session, our speakers are going to share on a very interesting topic that's make happen. So please join me and welcome our speakers on stage. They are Professor Siu Ng and Professor Francis Chan, Director and Co-Director of the Microbiota Eye Center. Please welcome.
Professor, the Honorable Professor Sun, Mr. Phillips, distinguished guests, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am Francis Chan and my colleague Siu Ng. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to share with you our journey from innovation to commercialization. We are going to tell you our story of how we innovate with our guts to make something happen. To briefly introduce ourselves, I'm a medical doctor, a professor of medicine, and also the Dean of Medicine at the Chinese University of Hong Kong. Many people said to me, Francis, you are well established. You don't need to become an entrepreneur. In fact, what they are trying to tell me is, Francis, you are too old for entrepreneurship. Then, about 10 years ago, I met this young UK-trained Malaysian Chinese who is also a medical doctor, a professor in medicine. She is tenacious, goal-oriented, and ready to step outside her comfort zone. We share the same gut feeling that the human gut microbiome will be the next frontier of medicine.
So our gut feeling is that we all have a second brain, and this second brain lies within your gut. There are trillions of microorganisms inside you, on your skin, on your body, and this is going to revolutionize the next 20 years. The last 10 years is all about human genome, but I can tell you the next 20 years is going to be about the human microbiome. All these features you can't see with a naked eye. The reason they're so important is because their power is yet to be unleashed. They control your mood, your immune system, whether you grow fat or you lose weight. And the beauty is 99% of your DNA in your body belongs to these microbes. So you're only 1% human. So bear that in mind. So our hope and dream is really to bring health to our next generation through microbiome discoveries. But how are we going to do that?
And came the opportunity of InvestHK. The Hong Kong government has made substantial investment to support top university research teams to build state-of-the-art R&D laboratories in the Hong Kong Science and Technology Park, the so-called Inno Centers. However, I have to say that we established our Microbiota Innovation Center, MAGIC, against all odds. Why? We were not even invited by our university for this rare opportunity because they didn't believe microbiome was important at that time. But instead of accepting this brutal reality, we introduced ourselves to the ITB. We persuaded the convener about the importance of microbiome, and finally, we made it. We created the only state-of-the-art microbiota R&D center in Asia. But despite this initial success, we asked ourselves, how are we going to transform our innovations into something that will impact and fulfill societal need? And about 3 years ago, one morning, Sue and I had a coffee, and we decided to start our business on a napkin. And with a leap of faith, we established our first startup company, Genibiome, which stands for Bringing Health and Hope to Generation Next, with our innovation and integrity in microbiome science. We had a very humble start, beginning with a shared office desk in a tiny office in Wan Chai.
Now, the rest is history, because as we know, all startups need funding support. Guess what? Our first investor was a seed investor and angel funds, and we portrayed the idea that we wanted to use fecal transplant, essentially taking the stool from someone who is thin to help and combat obesity. And it works for some people, as you can see. But this does not fly clearly, because our seed investor asked us, are you going to ask them to swallow the poop, or are you going to transplant this poop? The next time when you have a fecal pill, then come back to us. Life is ironic, then comes the pandemic. It's unprecedented. And for those of you who watched Forrest Gump, remember Tom Hanks said, my mama always says, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you get. And this somehow created an opportunity. We are both medical doctors at Prince of Wales Hospital. We are swamped with COVID-19 cases nonstop, sick people who are dying. And we use the big data, the fecal material identified in the laboratory, perform clinical studies. And we identified the gut microbiome that can actually boost your immunity against COVID-19. And this is called SIM01. This is the inception of a formula from the Chinese University of Hong Kong. Remember, at that time, there was no vaccine in 2020. Nobody really knows what to do with this SARS-CoV-2 virus. And we're able to launch this in just under 18 months to help the people in Hong Kong. And we've shown that this can even boost your immunity against vaccine, which is what we are all worried about. Our antibodies will drop with time. And not only that, recently, we've shown that with this SIM01 Chinese University of Hong Kong discovery, we can prevent long COVID, which is what's going to face the pandemic after the pandemic. We're very excited because we're encouraged that this has really gone far and beyond, and is now available in different parts of Asia, as well as in mainland China and in Hong Kong. Let's go back to our initial dream. We're not started off to look at supplements or probiotic. We need to invent ourselves. And if you look at, I'm going back to my passion with poop again, because we had an innovation for the last 10 years to use one single spoonful to predict your risk of disorders. And this technology called M3 is a work launching from 10 years ago, whereby in one single stool samples, we can identify 4 bacterial gene markers. This technology breakthrough can identify colon cancer at a stage when it's still a polyp, whereby it can still be cured, so that you don't need to undergo chemotherapy with just a non-invasive way with high sensitivity. We believe that colon cancer is the number 2 cancer in Hong Kong. It's the largest killer in the world. But current non-invasive stool tests cannot detect the small lesions, the polyp. Who has had a colonoscopy in the audience? People worried about having bowel prep. It's invasive. And we worried that the polyps will come back again. So for those of you who are 45 or above, we now know colorectal cancer screening is paramount for everybody for prevention. And we're going to launch another kit called autism. Right now, with just one single stool test, next year, we may be able to detect a risk of autism for a child even before it develops. So you could see, I always say to my family, my friends, my children, my clients, the next time you are in the toilet taking a data dump, just imagine that single stool sample may one day save your life to predict your risk of disorders. And right now, GeneBiome has launched colon cancer, undergoing regulatory approval. We're going to go to long COVID and multiple disorders. These are all the diagnostic platforms that is happening in our pipeline. But I realized something. People don't want you to just detect the disease. They want a solution. They want them to provide a solution after you can detect it. So we'll be one of the largest AI-driven microbiome data sets for drug development. And you could see our low-hanging fruit is a health supplement, SIM01. This is launched all around the world, but we haven't given up our dream of a live biotherapeutic and a fecal microbiota transplantation. We're working towards the poop pill, which is going to happen, and that can be a drug development. We have patents that's covered over 40 families, lifespan of 18 years, and we won several awards at the Geneva Invention. Most importantly, all of these are backed up and supported by scientific discoveries, over 300 Hong Kong-originated publications in world international journals. And we are excited because in just 24 months, 3 of these are available to the Hong Kong people, to the Greater Bay, and we believe globally as well. And the revenue has escalated, and valuation has gone by 16 times in 3 years. We've been encouraged, but we're not going to stop here. You could see in the pipeline, only 3 out of 7 of our products have been launched, and many of these are going through clinical phase studies, phase 1 to phase 3 at the moment. So from that small little shared desk, and our CEO is here, we launched our first microbiome molecular diagnostic laboratory 2 weeks ago in Wan Chai. From a humble start, we're now building all around the world. Our investment platform is based in Hong Kong because that's our hometown. That's where we believe the biotech is the most amazing. We have an R&D center. We now have offices in Greater Bay, as our Professor Sung has said, this is where we need to collaborate with. And we have offices in Guangzhou, Qinghai, Shenzhen, and also Beijing as well. And we are going to the UK, and we met the British Council lady early on, which is exciting, Singapore, Malaysia, and also collaboration in the United States. So we start from Hong Kong, a spin-off from CUHK, with support from ITC, and we are building international networks with University of Cambridge, University of Melbourne, University of Chicago. And we are working together with strategic partnership as well, such as Ferring, Olympus, AstraZeneca, because we believe from here, we need to expand to let the rest of the world know that this is where we do and can excel. So where do we see ourselves in the next 5 years?
Where do we see ourselves? Is it about IPO or M&A? I believe our vision is really to turn our venture into an international enterprise that will make a difference to the world. Thank you for your very kind attention.
Thank you very much, Professor Ng and Professor Chan. Thank you. Thank you. That was really exciting, and we can't wait to see more of your products being launched. Those are turned out to be lifesavers. Thank you so much. Next, let's welcome on stage Professor Leo Poon, Managing Director of the Center for Immunology and Infection. Please welcome Professor Poon, and he'll be talking about novel technology platforms for combating infectious diseases.
Thank you very much. I think our mission and vision is try to improve health. We are a bunch of scientists who work on emerging infectious disease for over 20 years. So you heard about H5N1 in 97, H7N9, MERS, SARS in 2003 in Hong Kong. So we have been tackling these horrible, nasty pathogens all in the last 2 decades. We have been trying to develop new models, technologies, so that we can able to understand these viruses at the animal-human interface, and we can develop new intervention to prevent the spillover event. So we have been working with international healthcare organizations like WHO, FAO, OIE, and other health agencies to try to work together to combat this disease. So many of us have been working as a committee members in many of these organizations to make recommendations to try to prevent this. So now with the pandemic in 2020, with the COVID-19, so what will be the next? How we can able to prevent the next? So we have been scratching our head, trying to develop new platforms. For example, in January 2020, we are one of the first who developed diagnostic tests to detect COVID-19. And our assays has been sent to over 170 labs in over 77 countries. So this is our impact as academics. So next, we try to transform what we have found in before into new platforms for translational research. Our mission is try to prevent the next. We try to use some novel technologies to develop new markers so that we can able to develop better vaccines and therapeutic strategies. The strength of our company, C2I, is with a well-leading expert, with well-established network, and we are real public health practitioners. So we have been working with so many health industry and health organizations to improve health. So these programs have 4 different projects. So from program 1 to program 4, and each of them is managed by our particular principal investigators. And me, and Professor Pierres, and Professor Bosonis are the co-directors and managing director to manage these companies. So I will go through these programs one by one. First of all, maybe I should ask you a question. How many of you have been vaccinated? I'm sure all of you have been vaccinated now. But which one you have taken? Inactivated vaccines, mRNA vaccines. So do you know it actually worked for you? I'm sure you know that some of you, from the news, some of you may actually do not respond to vaccines very well. Can you actually identify a good strategies to tell whom should be vaccinated with particular type of vaccines? Or if you have a chance to be infected by COVID-19, how likely you will develop severe clinical outcomes? So for us, this project is trying to define health. What we want to do is, actually we are doing it now, we try to collect 1,000 donor samples to try to use a different type of cutting-edge technologies to understand what are the markers to define healthiness, so that we can able to tell at the end of the day, you come in and take a drop of blood, we can tell you, you should be better off if you're vaccinated with a particular type of vaccines. Or if you have been infected by a particular pathogens, you are likely to have a severe clinical outcome. So you should be vaccinated or try to seek for early interventions. So we can able to try to use this marker to tell you personally which are the risk factors. This has been done in Paris. So we are doing it to try to define health in Asia. We are collecting samples from Hong Kong here, but this can extend to, like for example, colleagues of people in China. So we would like to do this and analyze them and try to identify a panel of markers to define health. For the second programs is try to develop new influenza vaccines. I'm sure many of you have been heard about antigenic vaccine mismatch. Every year we have to vaccinate ourselves because the virus mutate. So, and the other problem of the current influenza vaccine is it cannot prevent the pandemic strains. In 2009, we had no vaccine at all to prevent pandemic H1N1 in 2009. So in this program, we would like to develop new intervention with our patented technologies to try to develop next generation influenza vaccines which can able to fight against seasonal influenza and also those pandemic strains. And we are now developing this technology against COVID-19 as well. For the third program, it is about global warming. I'm sure you know that global warming is a real issue and vector-borne disease become a problem. Dengue, Zika, and even in Hong Kong in 2018, we have a dengue outbreak. So we want to do, first of all, try to do, actually we are doing it now, to try to conduct surveillance. What are the pathogens circulating in this mosquito in Hong Kong? And in fact, we have been detect new viruses. Some of them may be able to jump into human as well. And right now, we are trying to understand the ecology of these pathogens and develop new strategies to control them and develop new antivirals and also try to develop a good strategies to control this pest. The fourth one is try to develop treatment for acute respiratory illness. For those who have been infected by H5N1, many of them die, 60%. If you have a pandemic like this, we are doomed. For COVID-19, many of us may develop severe clinical outcome. This is because we have a severe lung injury. So how can we treat them? This platform is try to use in vitro system. So basically, we can develop a lung injury model in a test tube. And we can able to use new compounds like synthetic compounds or growth factor to treat these lung injuries. Not only that, now we can able to develop these cells in the test strip into a mini organ, just like a mini lung, mini trachea, and so on and so forth. This is very important because a drug which is useful in a test strip, a drug useful in animal model, it doesn't mean that it works in human. So what we can do is now develop mini human organ to test these compounds and able to find new compounds, factors to treat severe clinical respiratory diseases. So these are the summary of these 4 projects. Now I'm going to talk about our new initiative. So for the development of the program 4, we are now generating a spin-off company called C2I Tech. This is a company providing a platform for screening antivirals, develop diagnostics, and in particular, we want to try to develop a personalized medicines. At the end of the day, we would like to take a swab, just a RAT that you have been doing all the time, just take a swab of them and collect the cells and differentiate them into mini organ, your very own mini organs. This is your lung tissues, this is your trachea tissues, and so on and so forth. And we can use that for testing your response against infections, drug reactivities, and so on and so forth. This is exactly what we want to do. Take a sample of your respiratory sample from your womb, and then generate them into your mini organ of lung tissues, airway tissues, nasal tissues, and trachea tissues, and so on and so forth. So that we can infect them with, like for example, how likely you will develop severe clinical outcome after COVID infections. We can use that to test and able to tell you how likely you will end up in severe outcome. Or if you have respiratory infections, we have different type of drugs to treat you. So which drugs should be used for testing? Or go even further, if you have a cancer, there are many different types of cancer drugs. Which cancer drug actually can help you to save your life? So this is what we want to do. At the end of the day, you come into our clinics, take the samples, 2 weeks or 3 weeks later, we can give you an answer. So again, this is the preparedness. If you don't do it in advance, that may not be useful, but I think promoting health, we need preventions. Prevention should be started early. Okay, at the end of the day, I would like to thank for your attention, and I hope we can share our journeys and our mission to you, and then we would like to collaborate and connect with you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Poon. Thank you. Thank you so much. Next, we're going to welcome Dr. Jie Gu, Executive Vice President and Chief Scientific Officer of WuXi Biologics, who will share with us how a premier, fully integrated biologics drug discovery, development, and manufacturing platform enables and accelerates global innovation. Dr. Gu is currently in Shanghai, and he will join us via Zoom. Following his presentation, we'll have a 10-minute Q&A session. Now, please welcome Dr. Gu. Dr. Gu, can you hear us? Here from Hong Kong?
Hi.
Hi, Dr. Gu. You may now start your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you for introduction. It's my great pleasure to introduce WuXi Biologics. So my talk will focus on how a premium, fully integrated biologics drug discovery, development, and manufacture platform enables and accelerates global innovation. And so WuXi Biologics is a global leading CRDMO company for biologics drug discovery, development, and manufacturing. So below is a few numbers and represent our key milestones. And so by end of this year, we're going to have 13,000 employees. And so we have more than 400 global partners. And so we have able to work with clients for more than 500 integrated projects. So WuXi Biologics' mission is to accelerate and transform the discovery, development, and the manufacturing of biologics drugs through a comprehensive open access platform, enabling our global health care partners and benefiting patients worldwide. So, so we have built this world-class business model, dedicated global CRDMO company with unique follow and win the molecule strategy. And so we have a global dual sourcing within WuXi Biologics. And so we have also world-class quality system certified by 13 regulatory agencies, including US, FDA, EMA, NMPA, PMDA, and MFDS. So we have a robust and premium quality global supply chain network in China, in Ireland, Germany, Singapore, and the US. So this is the WuXi Biologics value chain. So essentially, we covered unparalleled one-stop biologics and vaccine R&D and manufacturing platform. So we have this research part and focus a lot of different things. I will get into detail in next slide. And so we have a comprehensive development capability and commercial manufacturing capability. So we have this mammalian system, but we also cover some of my microbial system, like E. coli and vaccine mRNA. So beyond this protein-based therapeutics, we expand our capabilities into vaccine and ADC through these two subsidiary companies, and WuXi Biologics own major ownership. So this is our discovery organization, and so we can cover the R of CRDMO. We have about 400 experienced discovery scientists provides service. And so we can do target evaluation, we can do reagent generation, antibody generation, lead identification, lead optimization, and we can also build this complex biologics. And I will get into that in the next few slides. And we can help our clients all the way to preclinical candidate identification, and we can help the client file IND to get the drug into clinical development. So for this monoclonal antibody discovery, which is the building block for a lot of biologics drugs, we have a multiple platform and to discover lead monoclonal antibodies better and faster. And have a traditional hybridoma technology. We have this through collaboration with a ligand, we have access to this fully human IG transgenic animal called Omni Rat, Omni Mouse, and Omni Fleek platform. And so we have this phage display library, and which is including naive library, fully synthetic library, and immunized library. And besides of this regular IgG platform, we also have this single domain called VHH antibody discovery platform. And so that's a camelid, and so they have a single domain antibody, and so we have proprietary naive fully synthetic libraries for VHH. Besides those traditional technologies, we also established this most advanced antibody discovery technology. And this year we introduced this single B cell cloning technology. And we use the Berkeley Light machine, and we established for the different species, human, rat, mouse, and rabbit, alpaca, and llama. And artificial intelligence now becomes very important. And so we are establishing this technology and this capability to using AI to help us for antibody drug discovery. So all of this technology, and so we have a lot of experience, and so we have done a lot of project with different clients. And some of a molecule, and for instance, and two of a molecule, and we help our client and getting clinical development, and this year received approval by CDE and marketed in China. And so monoclonal is a building block, and a lot of time that when you get initial monoclonal and you need a lot of optimization to become a drug candidate. So we established a full capacity of antibody lead optimization capabilities, including humanization, affinity maturation, and yeast display technology, FC engineering, and some of a post-translational modification removal to improve developability of a drug. And we also can do some of conditional biologics, since certain drugs and you want have a more safer drug and only be activated in the disease area, but will not have a safety concern, toxicity in a normal situation. So therefore, we have this conditional biologic capability. All of this one, and so we also collaborated, incorporated with this computer-aided drug discovery and artificial intelligence assisted drug discovery to accelerate and empower to dive into some of unexplored sequence species to discover novel biologics drugs. And monoclonal so the mainstay of biologics drug discovery, and a lot of monoclonal, I think that this year more than 100 monoclonal drugs have been approved by US FDA. And monoclonal is an essential building block for a lot of other more complex biologics. So this is a review article from Nature 2 years ago. And basically it tells the author feels that the fourth round of drug discovery innovation is coming, and multi-specific drugs will lead this new era of biopharmaceutical innovation. So at the end of biologics drug, and so I give some examples like multi-specific drugs. If you combine a small molecule drug with some monoclonal drugs, and that is antibody drug conjugate, I will get into this in next few slides. And if you combine two monoclonal antibodies and build into one biologics entity, that's a bispecific antibodies. And so you can do a lot of different things, and just using each one as a building block and build into a more complex biologics drugs. So WuXi Biologics, and we deployed this bispecific antibody platform many years ago. So we have our own proprietary leading bispecific antibody platform called WuXi Body, and Star Body, and Sky Body. And we also have access to this common light chain bispecific antibody platform through collaboration with a ligand called OmniFlic Red. And we also can help our client to build all different kind of generic format of bispecific antibodies. The major challenge for this category is that so you have a lot of CMC challenge and also have a lot of clinical development challenge. So our WuXi Body platform and our Star Body platform and can overcome those difficulties and make drug discovery easier. So antibody drug conjugate ADC now become established modality, and recently has more than 10 drugs being approved. And so we built this entire comprehensive discovery capability for ADC. So we can help client to identify target. We have this powerful antibody discovery platform can help to identify monoclonal antibodies. And so we have this linker payload library and we also can help customize the payload linker synthesis. And so we have a capability for bioconjugation. And so we have this DAFO technology, that's our own proprietary technology, and can improve drug homogeneity. And so we have a lot of assays. We can characterize physical, chemical, and developability properties of your drug. And so we have this in vitro biological platform, and can be used for categorize ADC drugs, and also has in vivo pharmacology models can be used to characterize pharmacological properties and toxicology properties of a drug, and help the client to get the preclinical development candidate. So since WuXi Biologics is a CRDMO, so we cover entire spectrum from discovery, development, and manufacturing. And currently, more than 400 clients on to work with us on more than 500 projects on different biologics drugs. So we can see that and our integrated project increased more than 30% to 500, to more than 500. And our monoclonal base and increased from 200 to 59. And you can also see the trend that this complex biologics like bispecific antibody, ADC, fusion protein, they increase more than other categories. So since we're fully integrated CRDMO company, so we can provide the customer protein production. So our customer protein production system called WuXian protein generation system can provide unparalleled capabilities, and can use a different system like E. coli, insect, mammalian, CHO, NS0, HIC293, and to generate the proteins. And we can cover all different kind of needs for the client's protein needs, like monoclonal antibody, ADC, and fusion protein, enzymes, kinase, a lot of different kinds. And also, so we have a high capability and high quantity from a milligram to 100 gram in weeks. And our CMC capability, and including to make a cell line for the client, and we have this WuXia system. We have a cell culture system called the WuXi Up, and so we also have this downstream purification and development system, and analytical development system, and formulation, and drug product development, non-GMP pilot plant, and in Wuxi and Shanghai. So we're expanding global capability and capacity, and we expect to increase our capacity to 580,000 liters by 2026. And we're located in a different site. You can tell that a lot of them located in Wuxi, China, and Shanghai, China, but also we have a global site in Ireland and Worcester, Massachusetts, and will be built, and also New Jersey and Cranbury, New Jersey in US, and also Wuppertal and in Germany. So it's a lot of different sites and have this DS capability and capacity. We also rapidly expand our global drug product capacities. So here we list this 12 different manufacture site, and will be built, and some of them already been built, and some of them still been building. So we have this paradigm we call the scale out manufacturing paradigm. So this scale out and in contrast to a scale up. Scale up is like that. So if you have a 1,000 liter, if a client want to have a 2,000 liter, and you kind of build a bigger bioreactor, it's a 2,000 liter. So what we did is that so we have a kind of single-use bioreactor. For instance, it's a 1,000 liter or 2,000 liter. But if a client want to have a 2,000 liter, we can have a 1,000 liter bioreactor instead of a 2,000 bioreactor. So this way will provide client flexibility and sustain and provide a solution to align with our customers' requirement. And you can grow as demanded or indication increase. This de-risk that if you build this bigger volume bioreactor like 5,000 and 50,000, but if you do your drug, you don't need such a capacity, and then that is a waste of your investment. So our scale out manufacturing paradigm really provide a solution for flexibility. And also, so we have this, we de-risk by have a dual sourcing for our supplies. And since some of our clients, and so within WuXi Biologics, and one drug can be manufactured in two different facilities. Therefore, they can back up and each other and provide an effective solution for some of emergency production. So WuXi Biologics and has a footprint in and a global network to enable our partners. And so this figures shows this, our capability, our capacity will increase to 588K by end of 2026. And so we have a location in China, different sites. I just mentioned there's Hebei, Chengdu, Wuxi, Shanghai, Hangzhou, Suzhou in China. And in Asia, so we're also building this Singapore site, and in Europe, we have a German side and Ireland side. And in US, so we have a multiple site in Massachusetts and Pennsylvania and New Jersey. So WuXi Biologics not only have a capability and a capacity, but also we provide this fast speed and to meet clients and timeline, and nobody can beat us. And in regard to provide this fast first in human drug substance and drug product. And so this exampled by this COVID emergency, since a lot of our clients previous and they work with other clients, and so they try to get this COVID neutralizing antibody being produced and to file IND. But a lot of our so the other providers and will take a much longer time, and some of them will take as long as a 2-year time, and so this these are not going to work, and for this healthcare emergency. So they come to us, and WuXi Biologics and can reduce the timeline, and for a lot of COVID case, and so can provide enable IND filing in less than 6 months. And one of the best cases is for Singapore company, and just in 2 months we have our client find IND. And since we are working with a lot of our clients, and intellectual property protection is very critical. IP is our shared lifeline. So we have established a lot of different way, like IP training, data management, file protection, and firewall, and to help to guard our clients' intellectual properties. So because our capability, our capacity, our speed, and we win a lot of clients' trust, and so we're trusted by our global partners. Now we have more than 400 global partners, including all of the 20 largest pharmaceutical companies in the world, and a lot of small biotech companies as well. So we have this follow and win the molecule strategy. And so this strategy basically, because we are fully integrated CRDMO, we have a discovery, we have a CMC development, we have a commercial manufacturing. So we work with our client and starting from a discovery, and then follow the molecule when the molecule progressed into a CMC development. And when the client gets success in the clinical development, then they will stick with us for commercial manufacturing. That's follow the molecule strategy. And our win the molecule strategy is that some of project our client initially worked with other service provider, but they have some of a challenge, and they come to ask us for the help. So some of the project, and they get into our pipeline, and from a late stage, that's a win the molecule client. And so we have 59 new integrated project added as of June 30th, 2022. And totally now we have more than 1,000 CDO projects. And win the molecule also win a lot of project, 5 external projects transferred into the pipeline as of June 30th, 2020. So the reason a lot of clients work with us and WuXi Biologics, since we are fully integrated and CRDMO company, we provide this end-to-end solution to our clients. And with our great execution, we have excellent IP protection and project execution, where operational excellence has won trust from our global customers. And we have highest quality in the industry, and we have outstanding audit track record, and US FDA, EMA, Visa, and PMDA, NMPA, and other healthcare and regulatory agent inspected quality system. And we have leading technologies, platforms, and from discovery and all the way to CMC and commercial manufacturing. This single source state-of-art technology platform from discovery to commercial manufacturing streamlines the path to R&D and to BLA. And so the people is our key. So we have a highly trained expert, world-class talent. So we have more than 500 experienced industry veterans, one of the largest biologics development team worldwide, with more than 3,000 scientists. And so we have this fastest speed within the industry. So we have this leading the industry by shortening the timeline from DNA to R&D, including record-breaking infectious disease timeline. And so we also have this flexibility and agility. This is important for a lot of our clients. We have the intense company-wide focus on customer service and customer satisfaction. So WuXi Biologics' vision is every drug can be made and every disease can be treated by building an open access platform with the most comprehensive capabilities and technologies in the global biologics industry. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much once again to Dr. Gu for the presentation on WuXi Biologics. Now, at the Q&A session, Dr. Gu will be joined by Mr. Andy Wong, Head of Innovation and Technology from Invest Hong Kong. Please welcome Mr. Wong. He'll be interacting with Dr. Gu during the Q&A session.
So, good morning, evening, everyone. So, Dr. Gu, thank you so much for your introduction about WuXi Biologics. A couple of questions that we collect from the floor. The first one is can you explain your global expansion plan by means of how to select a global site for your R&D development? Dr. Gu, please.
Yes, and our major principle is that so we try to get close to our clients' needs. And so therefore we're building this capability and capacities in Asia, in Europe, and in US as well, since we have a global clients in those major geography sites.
Okay, thank you. So the next question is how WuXi Biologics can help Hong Kong local academic labs or pharmaceutical industry? Thank you, Dr. Gu.
Yeah, I think that Hong Kong is an important area and for our future growth. And since we have this entire capabilities and from every aspect and this discovery, development, and commercial manufacturing, and our discovery organization can provide any discovery needs and the labs in Hong Kong need. And we can provide this fully integrated discovery service, but we can also provide this fragmented and service whenever our client needs.
Okay, thank you. So the third question is, does WuXi Biologics only focus on manufacturing? Can WuXi Biologics help clients at different stages of development? How about small projects or small proposal? Thank you.
Yes, I think that it's WuXi Biologics, and from this slide you can tell that we are CRDMO. So it's not only manufacturing, not only the green part, but also this light blue and dark blue. Dark blue is a research part, is a discovery. Basically, we can do targeted selection and reagent protein and acid development and antibody discovery and a lot of different things and bioassays and animal models and everything discovery need. And also development is the CMC part, and we can do cell line engineering and assay development and process development, drug substance and drug product formulation and manufacturing. Yeah, essentially cover A to Z for biological drug discovery, development, and manufacturing.
Okay, thank you so much. I just want to open the question to the floor if any other additional question. If not, then pretty much we finished this section today. Thank you. Yes.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Wong, for facilitating the session for us. And thank you so much, Dr. Gu, for the sharing.